Hey everybody, welcome to my studio. I need a favor from you. I need you to let me know if you can hear me because it's a little bit of an experiment today. My Wi-Fi is a little challenged at the moment while everybody is, at home and working on their computers, so the Wi-Fi is a little wonky sometimes. And plus I'm wearing my earpods. So if you could just let me know if you can hear me okay. Okay. So can you hear me, you guys? I see Joan is on. Okay, good. Thanks. That's awesome. Okay. All right. So we're in the studio today. I'm so glad to be in here. This is kind of a fun new thing with you guys. But I thought what I would talk about today is how I start a painting and kind of get it going. And the reason I want to do this, hi to Sweden. Hi, how are you? Anyway, the reason I want to do this is because I'm hearing from a lot of people that saying that just getting started right now with all of the events going on in the world and stress and anxiety, that just getting started is kind of hard for some people. So I thought, well, shoot, I'll do a demo on how I get started and start a painting. So what I have done is you probably can't see, but I'll show you a little bit. So I have mixed up some colors right here. And so I've already done all of that. So not to bore you and waste your time while I'm mixing and mixing and mixing. But so I've got my canvas here. Now, normally what I do before I start is I will do a little meditation. I think I've talked to you guys about that before because I've talked about honest art, and what I mean by honest art is like an accurate expression of where we are in the moment or in our bodies, or and the best way for me to get really clear about where I am is to feel very grounded. So that's why I meditate. I like to kind of still the swirl that sometimes feels like is going on around me. And just kind of get really, really present. And it doesn't have to be, an hour-long meditation. In fact, when I'm in my studio, it's usually, more than like 5 minutes, maybe 10. I do meditate in the mornings longer. But for the purpose of this, hi Nina, I just meditate for a bit before I get started. So let's just assume that I have done a short meditation. And if you guys are interested in me leading you through a little meditation on another IG Live, I'm happy to do that too. You just let me know. So let's assume that I have meditated. All right. So then the first thing I'm going to do after my meditation is I'm going to get up. I love painting standing up. I don't know about you guys, but I get up and I grab some mark making tools, and I will immediately use these tools to express whatever it is going on in my body. Now sometimes the expression is just like fuck. Sometimes it's just like like really getting it out of my body, what is going on, and putting it somewhere, right? Being able to put it somewhere. That's really, really important. But right now I'm not anxious at this very moment. You never know in like 10 minutes. But right now I'm not anxious, and I'm just kind of feeling very free and floaty. So that's kind of what I want to express on here. And I just want to kind of stay really present, like not in my head at all. Definitely not thinking, and just having a good time. But I like using different size mark making tools. So I like using some fat things like this, as well as pencils, in case you guys were wondering, this is an acrylic paint marker. This is just a Sharpie. This is just a charcoal pencil. And then I go from here. And now this is just a big old fat piece of charcoal as well. And just that, to me, that is kind of cool because if you've taken any classes from me, I have I teach this in the color course for Rebels, that values, your brain registers values before it registers color. So having distinct values is like the #1 thing you want to think about when you're building a painting. Right now I'm not thinking about that, I'm just thinking about having fun. So the next thing that I do is when I'm building a painting, I like to not be in my head too much. So I've already mixed my colors, like I said, and I want to build from less saturated colors to more fully saturated colors. And the reason for that is that I find it difficult to kind of go the opposite direction. So what do I mean by saturated and unsaturated colors? So I mean that a fully saturated color is a color that has its full pigment in it. So it doesn't have any whites or black or gray. There's no other things that are mixed into it. It's a fully saturated color is just that. It's fully saturated. By the way, if you guys are asking questions, I can't see it very well because I'm so far away. But anyway, so I like to build a painting from less saturated and then work my way that way. So went ahead and I mixed these colors, like I said. And so I'm just gonna whatever floats my boat, I'm gonna start getting that onto the canvas. And it doesn't, oh, it's a little warm in here. Let me take this off. It doesn't matter to me whether what I have drawn on here, doesn't matter to me if it peeks through or not. I like it sometimes to do that, but the other thing that I do often, and again, you know, if you guys have followed me for a bit, you know this, but I like to spin my paintings a lot. And the reason I like to spin them is because I don't want to become too attached to what it looks like, you know, in this phase of the game. I'm really just wanting it to be completely expressive. The other reason why I like to spin the painting is one of the things that is interesting compositionally on a painting is that you don't have all your strokes going the same direction. So we have a tendency to paint like we write, right? So like if you write right-handed and it has a particular slant to it, then your strokes are gonna look like that. But you really wanna change up your strokes a lot when you're painting. So we've got a lot of these less saturated colors. Just rub some stuff back here. I do kind of want to be able to see through those. I like those lines showing through there. So yeah, that's just a really great thing in general. And listen, it doesn't matter if you're doing figurative or if you're doing abstract or if you are doing, it just doesn't matter kind of what you're doing at all. Building a painting from the least saturated to more fully is just the way to go. At least it is for me. But nobody's the boss of you. Obviously, you can do whatever you want, right? Nobody's the boss of you. Okay, now the other thing is that I've got this brush, right? But it's giving me the same type of brush stroke, so I like to change up my tools pretty frequently. Let's see here. Oh, but see, and that tool is awesome because it's letting me see some of the stuff that I originally wrote on there. That's cool. Oh yeah, that's awesome. But I kind of like that. That's kind of neat. All right, let's see. And of course I'm going to add in, this is my favorite, one of my very favorite colors, the Indian yellow. YouTube video where it talks about, I talk about bed head brushes. These are some of my bed head brushes right here, which is just, I've had these forever. And then when you know, when you rub them along the, here, I'll do it like this. I'll get a darker value in here. So you can see when you just kind of barely put them in the paint, just a little bit, and then you kind of rub it along the painting. Oh, look how cool. It just creates some really cool marks. So, yeah, I get questions, and people say, well, how do you get a bed head brush? And I think you just kind of trash them. I've been trashing it for years, but you know, using them forever. Can you guys see the cool lines that that's making? I think that's just very, very cool. So let's see here. Let's create some more value in that. Because what we've got here is we've got kind of like mostly light to medium values. So with the exception of, you know, these kind of bedhead things here, but it's mostly light to medium values. So I just want to go in and kind of create some darker values in here. And again, I have no idea where this is going to go. If it's anything like 100% of my other paintings, it'll probably go south pretty soon. But that's all right. I know how to get out. I know how to get unstuck. It's all good. But I'm just loving this color. Oh, and see, all right, now look. I talk about this again in the color course, but when you put a lighter value and you juxtapose it right next to a darker value, it just has a lot more pop, a lot more pizzazz of doing that. Let's see. I wish I had some music. Can somebody sing? Just kidding. Wouldn't that be great if you guys could sing for me? Oh, that would be incredible. All right. So, yeah, so we've got these colors that are less saturated. Now, obviously we could keep going. It's a little wet right now, so, well, it's a lot wet right now. But I just want to show you real quick what happens when you start building from less saturated and you move up to more fully saturated. Let me just show you what's going to happen. It's going to have a really strong impact when you go back in. You go back in with your fully saturated colors. So can you see that? It's just building. It's like everything is coming forward at you. It's like these are the softer, the kind of the quieter message, and then as we build it this way, the message gets a little louder and a little louder. All right, I'm gonna check here real quick, see if anybody's got any questions on how I start a painting and start building a painting. Like I said, it's the first thing I did was I mixed my values, and then once I had all my values mixed, then I'm able to paint, so I don't have to kind of keep going over it and over and over. Obviously, this is not anywhere near a finished painting. Oh, I like how that color blends in a little bit like that. That's pretty cool. Now, if this were a painting that, look, it's just, if this were a painting that I was just gonna like keep going on, what I would do, because it's so wet, is I would have 2 or 3 paintings going on at one time. Let's see, what colors did you use? Okay, good question. So I used turquoise blue is what I started with, this turquoise blue color, and I used Indian yellow, and then from there I created my values. So I created my values from there. What other questions do you guys have? What kind of graphite do you use? Oh my gosh, you know what? I use so many different kinds. I use soft, some hard. So like some cool things going on. But yeah, lots of different kinds of graphite. Let's see. Yeah, still like super wet, but kind of fun, right? And one of the things that I talk about in the color course is to, in the section where I talk about how to get unstuck from a painting, I talk about varying your brush strokes like we just said, but also compositionally how it's important to have thick lines and thin lines and you know, just to create visual interest. Let's see, this is also kind of you can even do, you know, thinner. Oh, that's kind of cool, right? So I love this because when I go through it, I can see the lines from where I started in the beginning. So anyway, so that's just, that's the bottom layer, and I'll keep working from there. Do you prepare your color palette in advance? Good question. So what I do normally is after I meditate, then I will oftentimes choose my colors then and mix them. But I always choose my color palette ahead of, before I start painting for sure. And I do that because I like to choose my colors intuitively. I don't like, and again, I hate to, I'm sorry to keep mentioning this, but in the color course I talk about how some people are like, no, you have to choose two different complementary colors, and I don't want to do that. I want to choose whatever colors I want. So I have a method that I use so that when you mix the colors together, they all talk to each other. And anyway, so to answer your question, I choose them and I prepare my color palette ahead of time. Yes. Okay, does anybody else have any other questions? Obviously this is a long way from being finished, but it's fun to just get in here and play. And you know, this is just, like I said, the first layer. Once this dries, then if I want to do a whole different layer of different colors and different paints, then I often do. So I often have, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, tons of different layers on the canvas, and I like that because different things will peek through, and you never know what's going to happen. So anyway, thanks you guys for joining me today and joining me for how I start a painting. And if you have any questions, please be sure to DM me. I love getting your DMs or your emails. You can also email me, jody@jodyking.com. Happy to answer any questions for you. All right, so until tomorrow, you guys take good care of yourselves, take good care of each other, and I'll talk to you then. Peace out. Take care.